Since Huawei executive's arrest, 13 Canadians have been detained in China.
Here's a summary of the article.
According to a statement from Global Affairs Canada, in the last month there have been 10 more Canadians detained in addition to the 3 detentions that had been publicly known: Michael Kovrig, Michael Spavor and Sarah McIver. Of the 13 Canadians detained, Global Affairs said at least 8 have been released. Canada continues to call for the immediate release of former diplomat Kovrig and entrepreneur Spavor, but until now had made no mention of any other Canadians being in similar positions in the Asian country. "We are deeply concerned by the arbitrary detention by Chinese authorities of 2 Canadians last month," said Adam Austin, a spokesperson for Foreign Affairs Minister Chrystia Freeland in a statement earlier Thursday. The federal government has yet to update its travel advisory for Canadians heading to, or who are already in China, though the current instruction is to exercise a high degree of caution. On Thursday, the United States issued an updated security statement, advising its citizens to exercise increased caution in China due to arbitrary enforcement of local laws as well as special restrictions on dual U.S.-Chinese nationals. Global Affairs says that an estimated 200 Canadians overall have been detained in China for a variety of alleged infractions. That number has remained relatively stable, despite the recent high-profile arrests of Spavor and Kovrig.
This post received a score of 9,258, with an upvote ratio of 89%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Sue with no point of reference, is this the same amount as they usually detain?
The article actually states there hasn't been any spike in the total number of detentions. Edit, quoting, U.Bhel below. The article doesn't mention a single thing about the people who have been detained, the circumstances of their arrest, or anything at all. It reads, one would think that if there were 13 arbitrary arrests, the Minister of FA would be on top of that and making noise about their liberation, yet only 2 are mentioned. So it's likely that the remaining ones were arrested for some dumb shit like being drunk or peeing in some bushes, and this random source is just trying to get some easy clicks by exploiting a controversial topic. He also undercut Canada's position that it is upholding due process, honoring the extradition treaty by giving the U.S. the full 60 days to come up with a formal extradition request.
I flew into China last week. I was detained plus 10 other Americans and 6 Canadians. We were all held for 40 minutes. We were all held slightly behind the customs line. They kept moving the passports between the customs desk. It was really weird, and it was especially isolated to Americans and Canadians. The Canadians seemed especially more nervous, because probably of what they heard. Many of the Chinese customs agents said our connecting flight didn't exist, but oddly found it later. It was weird, and a bit nerve-wracking.
They just want to fuck with you. That's how it is in China. I was stopped for more than 5 hours at the airport in Dallas coming from Spain. Is that how is USA too? Also, wasn't released until just after my connection flight left and had to spend the night there.
Greater than is that how is USA too? It can be. They fuck with some nationalities more than others. I suspect China does too.
The article doesn't mention a single thing about the people who have been detained, the circumstances of their arrest, or anything at all. It reads, one would think that if there were 13 arbitrary arrests, the Minister of FA would be on top of that and making noise about their liberation, yet only 2 are mentioned. So it's likely that the remaining ones were arrested for some dumb shit like being drunk or peeing in some bushes, and this random source is just trying to get some easy clicks by exploiting a controversial topic.
Even the original 2 Canadians who were detained were related to spy biz. They were facilitating celebrity visits to meet Kim Jong-un and likely providing the US and Canada intelligence on North Korea. Edit, here is the photo of Michael Spavor breaking bread with KJU. Edit 2, the question becomes, if Canada arrests a Chinese person for breaking U.S. sanctions to Iran, isn't China justified in arresting a Canadian person for breaking espionage laws in North Korea? Edit 3, it's worth noting that right now, the only side that has explicitly made this political rather than legal is the U.S., whose president offered his powers of prosecutorial discretion re Huawei's CFO as a bargaining chip in the Sino-U.S. trade talks. He also undercut Canada's position that it is upholding due process, honoring the extradition treaty by giving the U.S. the full 60 days to come up with a formal extradition request.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to Speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.